Hey, I hope you're well. So today we're going to be talking about bringing that dream life that you envision in your mind into reality. Specifically, we're going to talk about the day-to-day challenges with actually making manifestation happen, because a lot of us understand this idea of the heart and mind connection, and we understand the idea of thinking and feeling into the place where we want to be, but day-to-day life makes that difficult, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to give you 3 things to think about as you're going through the day-to-day to keep your manifestation on track. So the first thing we just need to think about before we get into these 3 points is the greater context here, which is that we're all trying to be in the present moment. So everything exists in the present moment. All possibilities for you are in the present moment. So we need to think about the fact that all timelines exist as a potential for us, and our highest reality is there if we choose to shift into it properly. So that's the first part of it. So now let's get into the 3 things that can help you on a day-to-day basis. The first is the simple belief that you are a microcosm of something greater. You are a fractal of Source, essentially, right? And Source, or God, has created all opportunities, has created everything into existence, inclusive of every iteration of your life that you could experience. So this goes back to the earlier point. Essentially, this is further evidence that if any option is available for you to bring into your reality, then you can, because of the nature of you being a microcosm of Source. So step 1 is we have to believe that this is the case. Step number 2 is about fear. So we have to overcome the fear that is involved when we step into this place of thinking and feeling to this higher ideal of ourselves, this higher idea, right? Just think about this. So we're going to think and feel our way into this space where this higher version of ourselves exists. We're going to put ourselves in the place of that person. Well, what's naturally going to happen if we do that correctly is we're going to be presented with things in life that are reinforcing that we're already in that place in the present moment, right? And so these are going to be things like, these are examples from my life. So think about things like you have a clear step toward moving into that person and reinforcing the fact that you are this higher vision, but it requires spending money, or it requires taking risk, right? What's happening is the universe is presenting you things to do that might cause fear in you, but that are actually reinforcing this place you want to be. So you have to be able to overcome the fear associated with these things, like the fear of spending money, the fear of maybe improving your communication skills, speaking like you are that person, your overall demeanor. You have to be willing to take the risks and overcome the fears as the universe tries to create these steps in front of you that are actually aligning with this vision that you have for yourself. So keep this in mind. It's testing you to ensure that you truly believe that you are that person. And sometimes that requires overcoming fear. The third thing we need to think about is monitoring that logical, practical side of our brain that tries to override the place we're getting to, right? It's this fight between this vision we have of our higher self and the brain trying to be safe, secure, and rational, right? And this is kind of the interplay we're going to have day to day as we're trying to create this higher vision, right? So what we need to think about here is, as we go through these steps and we're trying to manifest this higher version of ourselves, our brain is going to tell us things like, well, you haven't put in the time to get to this person. And I don't see any external evidence that you are this person. Your bank account doesn't have a ton of money. You don't have everything you want, right? So your brain is going to try to rationalize these things in your mind that you might not have, or the fact that you hadn't put in the time to get to this person. But you have to think through that and believe through that and trust and feel through that to know and believe that you are that person already. And a quick example on that is as I was working on these things, I noticed that it was much more easy for me to think and feel my way into a certain situation that I wanted resolved right away, just like one single situation, right? Like for instance, like I was closing on a townhome recently, and I thought and felt my way into the place where that was closed, like the deal was done, because it kept getting delayed. And on one specific day, I said, it's going to happen this day. And I was able to think and feel my way into that actually occurring. The bigger challenge is when this comes with the entirety of the existence of who you are as a person, right? When you have to think and feel your way into this higher level you and the entirety of your life around that space. And that's when your brain tries to kick in and say, I don't see any evidence of that, because it's a much greater thing in terms of, it's not really, but you feel like it's a much greater thing to step into that vision, right? So again, we have to rule out this practical side of our mind that doesn't see the evidence of the fact that we should be at this higher place. Hold that vision in your mind, and I'm going to give you one trick to do this. And that is, as we think and feel into this place in the future, that we're trying to bring from the future into the present, or we're trying to bring from our imagination into the present, we need to use all our senses. So we need to see it. We need to hear people confirming that we are this person, telling us things like, congratulations, I can't believe you did so much and got to this place. We need to think, feel, hear. You can even, in your mind's eye, you can touch things in your house that you're trying to create for yourself. Like I've done this also, where in a dream house that I have, I'm sitting in my office and my hands are on my desk, right? So use all your senses to reaffirm this in your mind's eye, this higher vision, when your brain starts to rationalize the fact that you're not there yet. So these are the 3 tips as you go through day-to-day life. First, it's believing that you are part of something greater and have the ability to create. The second thing is overcoming the fear associated with the universe trying to point you in the direction of this higher self, but it's going to cause you to have to do some things that you might want to be fearful over. And the third thing is to monitor and manage that practical side of your brain that wants evidence, but you don't need the evidence, because you know this timeline is already there. And this should be super helpful as you go out and you manifest everything you want on a day-to-day basis. Good luck.